Yeah. Guy who's definitely not out of touch is like, hey, you know what billionaires are like? The beautiful nation state of Israel. You know, two concepts that are broadly popular in all of the circles that I frequent. Well, I don't understand. Yeah, here's the thing, okay? Mayor Zohran Mamdani, billionaire Ken Griffith battle over pied-à-terre tax. Ken Griffith says Zohran Mamdani put the crosshairs on him and actually threatened his life.
CEO Ken Griffin is once again taking aim at Mayor Zohran Mamdani as their feud over the pied-à-terre tax continues to escalate.
And in just a few hours, the mayor will be making a housing announcement.
Yeah, Tanya, Pedro, good morning. In just hours, Mayor Mamdani is expected to appear outside of this Marsenia apartment building just right behind me, and that's as the city has reached a settlement against the property owner at around $31 million. Now, I just spoke with someone who lived in that building off camera who tells me that, yes, there have been a ton of issues from elevator outages even to lack of heat and hot water. Meantime, we are watching the fallout of this feud between Ken Griffin and the mayor as they're not quite seeing eye to eye when it comes to those taxes on second homes that are quite expensive amid New York City's ongoing budget challenges. You may remember this video posted weeks ago from the mayor outside the home of hedge fund CEO owner Ken Griffin saying he should pay more taxes on his $238 million penthouse.
Bro, this gives the game away. For an unbelievably wealthy person like Ken Griffin, like the demand that they pay a little bit more in taxes on their 11th property is akin to a death sentence. Like he literally is just like, what? This is the scariest thing that anyone has ever suggested. For the bosses, a fate worse than death is the fate that many of you experience on a daily basis. It is to be reduced to a worker. That's what it is. They treat it like you're getting thrown in prison, like they put the handcuffs on you, like you're going to the gallows or something. Oh my God, you are going to tax my 11th property? My penthouse is $238 million? That's basically like demanding the gallows.
His chief operating officer had questioned whether a planned Midtown construction project would move forward following the attack on Griffin. The project, the redevelopment of 350 Park Avenue, that would create 6,000 construction jobs and more than 15,000 permanent jobs. At a conference in California, Griffin said he would probably go through with the project, but the mayor's video left him to expand his base in Miami, calling it an immediate and direct consequence of the mayor's poor decision.
What the mayor of New York has made clear to my partners, and principally my New York partners, is that we need to double down on our bet in Miami because we want to be in a...
Yeah, that's not going to happen, big dog. I know for a fact that's not going to happen. Good luck. Have fun with that, okay? David Dan says, I was in the room and it was impossible for there to be more whining in his tone. He pretty much compared having his high-rise apartment in a video to Trump assassination attempts. Yeah, here is Bronco Marcetic from Jacobin. Why is nearly a 60-year-old businessman talking like this? Here's the quote that he had. Looking at what Mamdani did to me and more broadly is doing to the city of New York is triggering the trauma I went through in Chicago. Triggering the trauma. What are you talking about? It's not even soy right, though. This is real. This is sincere. It's hysterical, but it's sincere. For a multi-billionaire, the demand that they pay even a crumb in return in exchange for being able to live and have properties in one of the coolest, nicest cities in the entire planet, New York City, is basically like a death sentence. How dare you?
State that embraces business, that embraces education, that embraces personal freedom and liberty, and that embraces people having an opportunity to live the American dream.
And the mayor's office responding to those comments saying in part, quote, Mayor Mamdani wants all New Yorkers to succeed. That includes business owners and entrepreneurs who create good paying jobs and makes the city the economic engine of America. It also includes Ken Griffin, who is a major employer in our city and a powerful figure in our economy.
Yeah, Mamdani's tax the rich slogan is just as hateful as racial slurs, New York real estate titan says. Stephen Roth, the CEO of the real estate giant Vornado, was sharply critical of Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Creepy and weird is what Ken Griffin had to say Tuesday at a conference about Mamdani's campaign-style video touting the tax outside the hedge fund manager's $238 million penthouse. Stephen Roth, the CEO of real estate giant Vornado, went further Tuesday on an earnings call. I consider the phrase tax the rich, when spit out with anger and contempt by politicians both here and across the country, to be just as hateful as some disgusting racial slurs And even the phrase from the river to the sea, Roth said, refer to the pro-Palestinian phrase. Oh my God. They're adopting the Israeli strat for class is perfect. That's exactly what it is.
I consider the phrase tax the rich, quote, tax the rich, but spit out with anger and contempt by politicians both here and across the country to be just as hateful as some disgusting racial slurs and even the phrase from the river to the sea. What these polls seem to be saying is that the rich are evil, or the enemy, or the targets, or maybe even just suckers. But the rich whom the politicians are targeting, started with nothing, are the epitome of the American dream. They are our largest employers and largest philanthropists. And it is the 1% that pay 50% of New York's income taxes. They are at the top of the great American economic pyramid for a reason. They should be praised and thanked.
Yeah. Guy who's definitely not out of touch is like, hey, you know what billionaires are like? The beautiful nation state of Israel. You know, two concepts that are broadly popular in all of the circles that I frequent. Well, I don't understand. Why won't you worship me, a billionaire, like you worship the beautiful nation state of Israel? Two things that are obviously broadly popular. Anytime you see a take on the internet that pisses you off, you know what you should do? Smile and dial, okay? Go and phone bank for the DSA today, okay? I need 10 phone banks from all of you. Anytime you see shit like that and you get upset or frustrated, you smile and dial and you call up Kathy Hochul's office and you say, hey, as a New York resident, I am very frustrated with the fact that you are allowing austerity to take shape in New York, making New York City unaffordable for the working stiff like myself. You should tax the rich so they pay a fair share back to New York City so we can fund these programs and make New York City the best city in the country, if not the entire world. Okay? That's what you do. When you get mad about stuff like this, you know, use that anger into more productive routes. Okay? It is not lost on me that these whiny billionaires are literally saying you must worship us like you should worship the state of Israel. Two entities, two concepts, two groups that are unbelievably unpopular with the working class. But they don't recognize that because they only go to the Milken Institute. They never actually react to the average Joe. They never actually are around regular folk. They're so unbelievably removed, far removed from the working class individual, the ordinary stiff, okay, the average Joe, that they can't even comprehend what the average person thinks about billionaires or Israel. It's hilarious. Matt Stoller says this whiny billionaire just drove Spirit Airlines into liquidation. He's now trolling the mayor of New York City because he doesn't want to pay taxes. Oh, and he got Florida legislature to strengthen non-compete agreements so his hedge fund employees can't leave. Great guy.
So where does that leave us at 350 Park?
That leaves us with the fact that we went to Miami and revised our building plan to make it a bigger office building.
You're bailing?
So what do we do at 350 is still a point of discussion internally. But what is no longer a point of discussion is that Miami is now, you know, when we moved from Chicago, there was a debate between New York and Miami. It's unquestionably true that we made the right choice. I'll leave it at that. It's unquestionably true that we made the right choice. And now what the mayor of New York has made clear to my partners, and principally my New York partners, is that we need to double down on our bet in Miami because we want to be in a state that embraces business, that embraces education, that embraces personal freedom and liberty, and that embraces people having an opportunity to live the American dream. And
yeah, here's the thing, okay? The reason why, look, there's this concept of the Laffer curve, right? The idea that if you raise taxes so much that you end up diminishing taxable revenue because wealthy people will find ways out of it and they'll leave and they won't actually pay those taxes. Now, in reality, that's not what happens at all. And perhaps the greatest example of this being bullshit is the fact that currently wealthy people have the capacity not to live in California and yet still choose to do so, even though California taxes are far higher than other states. The reason why they still choose to live in California is because California is awesome. And part of that is because there are places where there's higher taxes that also have higher quality of life. When these people turn around and say, oh, we're going to go move to Miami, okay, have fun. Have fun with that. You're probably not going to. As a matter of fact, during COVID, a lot of upper middle class people moved to places like Miami, moved to places like Texas, and now they're coming back to these big urban centers. Now, here's the thing. Is there such a thing as as too high taxes? I guess there could be, right? There's reasonable debate on this. We are nowhere near that percentage right now. I believe the Goldilocks zone is like what? Top marginal tax rate being at like 70%. Currently it's 34, I believe, or 35. So we're nowhere near that. It's at half of where it could be. So the notion that like we are so cruel and so ruthless to the wealthy is idiotic. Okay, it's a lie. It's a lie advanced by corporate media because their job is to defend the interests of super rich billionaires and millionaires. That's the thing. That's the reality. The notion that the super wealthy will leave if they have to pay a higher share of taxes is completely ridiculous. It's utter nonsense. People in New York already pay a higher percentage in their taxes. The super wealthy already pay a higher percentage in their taxes, and they still choose to live in New York. Why? Because it's New York City. So Zohran Mamdani's agenda in New York City that Kathy Hochul should absolutely get on board with, because it is broadly popular, it's unbelievably popular, is to make the city more affordable for the people that are working there at the behest of these billionaires and millionaires. It's that simple, because eventually, if you drive up inequality, if you keep pushing austerity, if you keep reducing the services the city offers that require taxable revenue, if the roads are filled to the brim with potholes, if the buses don't arrive on time, then you have a less productive workforce as a consequence of that. That actually hurts the productivity of these mega corporations in the long run. It's ridiculous. I agree with you, but looking at other places, successful wealth tax requires or at least is largely well assisted by an accompanying draconian exit tax is a win-win. Oh, I'm 100% in agreement with that. Yes, but that is the nuclear option. I don't even think it needs to get to that point. So these guys, when they say, oh, we're leaving, it's always like one or two people, you know, like the Google CEO leaving California because he's unbelievably mad about the wealth tax, the one-off billionaire tax, the one-time billionaire tax. It's always just a couple people here and there. The idea that there will be an exodus of the super wealthy from these places is ridiculous. It is a lie. It has never happened, and it will not happen, because these are expensive places to live in, and have already higher percentages of taxes for the super wealthy already, because they're nice places to live. That's where a lot of the highly educated workforce is already living and operating in. It's important to make sure that those people are more productive. It's important to make sure that those places are livable for the average Joe, for the working class person. Someone's got to make your coffee, right? You can't expect that someone to come from 3 hours away. I can't stand the amount of greed demonstrated by these people. It's unbelievable.